World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Good afternoon. Tony Rogers here, your host for Urbanology, the Art of War. I hope all is well. I know that April showers bring May flowers. However, I think the showers waited until May because we're getting a lot of them. But if you are an allergy sufferer like myself, the rain rain is always welcome, but especially at a time like this, it gives us a little bit of a break. I love spring, but sometimes spring does not necessarily love me, at least at the beginning of it. Towards the end, we're doing fine. I'm glad that you're here. Before we go into our show, which is a very interesting one, and I have a brother who is well known, a legend in his area of focus. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. But before that, many of you may not be aware that Harlem now has a pickleball association, and it's in conjunction with one of my partners, Richard Cox from Team Unity, who's the fiscal sponsor for the association. But on 152nd Street and Bradhurst Avenue in Harlem, it was one of the first pickleball courts that have been developed for Harlem. Many more will follow. I say this is because it is a not-for-profit organization, and they will have a special fundraising this Saturday, May 10th, at Raising Cane's chicken place. Not eating meat, I'm not always aware, even though I know there's a lot of chicken places on 125th Street, I think every other block. But nevertheless, Raising Cane is 124 West 125th Street. And what they will do, you can get the code on when you come, but it's RCFUND 96. They will provide 15% of their net sales to the Harlem Pickleball Association between the hours of 1 and 5. So, again, I don't know whether you're familiar with pickleball. One great thing is that there are seniors who play pickleball there, there are young people, there are families, and it's a growing way to exercise. So, if you haven't checked them out, check them out. And if you have and you want to help them, you go to Raising Cane for, I guess, for your lunch, and let them know that you would like to apply part of your payment to the Harlem Pickleball Association. There are other things, but I want to get to our guests. Of course, we're in May, and we're doing some things with the New York Design on May 20th, and probably next week we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things that are happening May and June. Of course, Harlem Week is right around the corner. But as you know, I've been with WACR for a very long time, and when we were in the lockdown, Soul City was gracious enough to provide a platform to extend WACR when we could not get into the studio. And since it's an international market as well, we developed a whole new market of viewers, and we've kept it. So this is one of the ways that we promote WACR on the screen. Now, as you may know or may not know, WACR 90.3 FM or www.whcr.org has a number of genres as far as music, all kind of music, different languages, different cultures. It has a little bit of something for everything. But the gospel music, my good friend Tina Nixon, always reminds me about that. And it has been known. Actually, I was able to receive funding when I was at City College to help renovate or to build WCR. And that funding came from Virginia Fields, who was familiar with the show because she always listened to the Gospels on Sunday. So gospel has been a major focus in our country for many years. There are a lot of codes and all of that, which is another story. But the gospel DJs have, especially now, even with young people, because the music has changed, have been able to bring a certain type of positiveness, a certain type of energy and spirituality to people of all ages, especially the young ones. And some of the gospel music that are hits, you would have to listen, which is important to understand that it actually is gospel, what they're talking about, as far as the spirituality of it. There are gospel DJs all over the country, and my guest today is one of the legendary gospel DJs, basically known as Dr.D, but Duane Knight has a long resume as relates to doing this type of work. And what he and some of his colleagues are putting together is a 50-year anniversary of gospel DJs that take place in Harlem, just before the beginning of Harlem Week. And I wanted to have him come on because a lot of people are not familiar with the spiritual movement that has taken on by many people dealing with gospel DJs. So please give a warm welcome to one of the legends in this new way of communicating gospel DJing and playing gospel music for young and old. Uh, Please, Dr. D, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm beautiful and blessed to be with you, Tony. I'm beautiful and blessed. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so this is one of the legends, and he has a long reach. So there's over 100 some odd DJs coming to a 50th anniversary. And tell us a little bit about the 50th. Tell us about how it started, and tell us a little bit about you and how I'm sure that the Spirit has put you to where you are. But what led you? What led you to become this legend in this genre and to put together this event?
Oh, okay. Again, I want to thank you, Brother Tony, for this opportunity to be on your show. And plus, we're brothers on WACR 90.3 FM. Yeah, my show is on Sundays, Monday mornings from 1 to 4 a.m. But to get back to your question, and as everyone know, in 1973, that's when DJ Kool Herc did his thing in the Boogie Down Bronx, and that just started off the whole hip hop revolution on this side of the waters. That was 73. In 75, I was part of a church in Brooklyn, and part of that group, I was hanging with about 5 other brothers, and we felt that there was a need for people to be exposed to more of gospel music that wasn't being played on the radio. So in 1975, the 6 of us got together and we formed the foundation, which is called the Gospel DJs. So we
Mhm.
was the first and original Gospel DJs. I was 15 at the time. So God called me at an early age. But since 1975, for about the next 12 years as a group together, the 6 of us, we did some astonishing things around the tri-state area. We helped formulate the gospel roller skating extravaganza that happened, and during those years, gospel roller skating took off because there were no gospel DJs before 75. A lot of the churches would, when they had events like anniversaries, they would just put on a tape, or even when they did the skating parties, they would bring their own music and
Hmm.
give it to the DJ there, and he would just play whatever. But when we came on the scene, we revolutionized that, and we was being called all over the tri-state and in the United States because we knew the music. We DJ'd the music like it wasn't being done before. So we did some revolutionary things there. Even went to London a couple of times. BBC came here and spotlighted what I was doing when I opened up the Christian nightclub. I had a Christian nightclub for about 5 years.
Where
Um,
where where was this?
the Christian nightclub started. Our first event was at the Quarry, and that
Hmm.
was in the Bronx.
Hmm.
Um, so it was a club called the Quarry,
Hmm.
and then from there we moved back to Brooklyn, and we was at the Omni, which was
Okay.
on Utica Avenue. So we was there for about another 4.5 years there.
Wow. Wow.
So we did a Christian nightclub there for about 5 years. And being a DJ, I was also connected in 1995. I connected to the Gospel Music Workshop of America,
Hmm.
and had a group of radio announcers that met and honed their skills and interviewed gospel artists and stuff like that. So I joined that in '95 as one of the first and premier gospel DJs to join the group of radio announcers and just learn and just promote gospel music from there. And
Hmm.
that's also the time where I joined on WACR in 1995. Joe Brown, he pulled me in with Dalton Anderson, and we started Late Night Journey Part 2. Well, Part 1 at that time, and later on became Part 2 when the show split into 2
And
parts.
for the listeners, just to interrupt, Joe Brown was the creator of WHCR as an educational component at the
Yes.
City College of New York.
Hmm.
And when he passed, that's what Angela Harton, after
That's
a
right.
number of hoops became the general manager.
Yes, our fabulous a manager who's now retired. But yeah, Angela took the helm and she stayed there all these years. Matter of fact, as you know, Tony, we celebrate 40 years next year. But for the most of that part, Angela, she's spearheaded the station to where it is today.
Yeah, it was one of my finest hours at City College to be able to raise the money to
Yeah.
hire Angela and to keep her from going to the Midwest because she had an offer. And as I said before, when I talked about the station, nobody, that was before the internet really
Mm-hmm.
took off. So the captured area at that time was part of the Bronx a little bit, but basically the Harlem area, and it was a training program. But then Virginia Fields, I was talking to her about it. She says, "I love that station," And I said, "Well, we need to hire somebody else. That station is going to disappear." And
Yeah.
she's the one that suggested that I write a grant to be able to salvage the station and hire Angela. And it's almost amazing to me that Angela's retiring, and now, but we have a new general manager who came up to the station via Glow. So I'm happy to see that go through, but it's come a long way.
Yes, it has. We've come a
From
long
a
way
little cubicle, we used to go.
to where we are now. Yes, sir.
But again, tell us how you were able to create this type of following dealing with gospel music, and what are the and I believe, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong, it based on what you guys have done, you opened up the doors to so many younger people, so people who probably might not even know it's gospel that they're listening to.
Yes, that's right.
But at least they got positive things going into their mind and they might not even know about it.
Well, you hit it right on the head, Tony, and that's the original reason why the Gospel DJs started in '75, because young people out there did not know the music at that time on radio, which gospel radio was primarily on a Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, you heard quartet, you heard choirs.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't hear other genres of gospel music that was developing at the time. So from '75 to about '85, you had gospel rap that came on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
You had gospel jazz. You had gospel reggae, gospel house, gospel contemporary music. All of that started developing within that time slot, and the radio was not playing it. So one of the reasons why we started just as the regular DJs of hip hop started, we started doing mixtapes and putting those tapes out and just giving it out to the young people in our church and other churches that we associated with, so that during the week they can listen to the tape and hear the other genres of gospel music that was out there. So the gospel DJs, just like club DJs and hip hop DJs, are primary force in introducing the music world to up and coming artists, to music that primarily they might not hear on the radio. So gospel DJs are the street soldiers of the street. We pick up music before it hits the airwaves, and we introduce new artists, new genres, all of that. And that has always been a format of DJs. Period.
Well, one of the things that is important and sometimes get lost in the source is that most of our music, the blues, the rock and roll, even to the degree jazz, came from that foundation, because gospel was the way that we had to communicate to each other. So many of the words in these gospel songs were ways that we were able to talk to each other. That signals, the Underground Railroad and all that, we'll be singing messages, don't come in here today, don't come in here today, so the beat and the music brings to mind, at least for me, the African beat.
That's where it started.
The African rhythm, the African spirit, because that was something that could not really be taken away. Everything else was, but that internal spirit could not be taken away. And the gospel and, the church, I mean, I can't say that, there's a separation for me between spirituality, and organized religion. But I do know the church played a major, major part in allowing for people during it's serious times now, but when they were, hanging us and doing things that they want to try to hide now. The church is a foundation. It allowed for conversations to be taking place, and it also allowed for people to escape some of this stuff. So, there's so many different stories about it. But the most important thing, the most important church instrument of getting to people was the song. If you got a choir, if you got some singers, if you got like Aretha Franklin and all those in the church, you could feel the spirit. After Aretha sung, the preacher didn't have to do but so much because everybody had already got blessed. And that's why I think what you've done over the years is to preserve that and allow for it to be flexible enough for young people to this day understand that culture. So tell us about the 50th anniversary.
So the 50th anniversary basically started out because this year I celebrate 50 years as a gospel DJ.
Congratulations, brother.
Never been about. Thank you, sir. Thank you, brother Tony. It's never been about me. Even through that whole journey, I partnered with people and we created the first gospel DJ record pool. We created the first gospel DJ conference in 2025. So it's never been about me. So as Father God would have it, he said, create and celebrate the gospel DJ movement. The gospel DJs have never celebrated anything together as a unit, as a family, like our brothers and sisters on the hip hop side. So the first thing I did was create the movement, and now I'm building that movement. So the movement itself is putting on this first anniversary where we are going to honor every DJ that shows up, whether they spun for 5 minutes or for 50 years. You are going to be honored. So that's what this is all about, is recognizing any and everybody who has done anything in the last 50 years as a mobile gospel DJ. So that's what the celebration is all about. We're going to celebrate our pioneers. I thank God that the original 6 DJs are still alive. Today we had another member, a 7th member, but he has passed on. We're going to celebrate DJs like himself who have passed on. We're going to remember those pioneers as well. So it's a time where we're going to reflect as a unit, as a unified body, recognizing ourselves within ourselves. It's our peers recognizing our peers for the work you've done in the kingdom anywhere in the last 50 years.
And you look to have a major event at the Alhambra Ballroom.
Yeah, that's right. This whole thing is historic, Tony. As some of you might know, the first thing we're doing is on the 7th of August. We're going to have a photograph. We're going to take a photograph, and the goal is to take a photograph with 100 mobile gospel DJs. And if you know the history with music, In 1958, it was done with jazz artists. In 1998, it was done with hip hop artists. So
Hmm.
we're following the tradition that was set. And then this year, we're going to take the same picture in Harlem at the same location with 100 gospel DJs. So that happens on the 7th of August. And then
Which
the
is the
8th of,
first day of Harlem Week.
okay, see?
Harlem Week starts on the 7th.
We help kick off Harlem Week.
Yeah.
So that's another beautiful blessing in that. And then the 8th, we're going to be at the ballroom, and we're going to celebrate the DJ anniversary, the 50th DJ anniversary with honors and awards. And then on the 9th, we're going to be at the station WHCR, and we're going to have a 10-hour fundraising event where DJs are going to be spinning who came in for the event all over the nation. We're going to have artist interviews and everything, but we're going to continue to raise funds for WHCR 90.3 FM so we
Mhm.
continue to do the good work that we do there. And as we go into our 40th anniversary. So the whole celebration from the photo to the awards gala to WHCR fundraiser, it's historic, and it's the first time it's been done like this.
Well, again, this is why I'm happy to allow for this message to come out, basically on behalf of WACR as well as Soul City. And since you're on WACR, I know people are aware of it. And it's, again, it's important. Well, it's always important, but we're moving into a lot of negative energy. And sometimes that could be hit back to us or based on our mindset. The whole issue of mental health is becoming more acute, especially since COVID. And when you look at the news, there's a lot of stress. And I truly believe the understanding of how to appreciate the different forms of gospel music
Yeah.
is a very interesting option because in many cases, and I guess I'm saying this from my own personal mindset, is that in many cases we're talking about music that is uplifting. The words are not always, as I said before, it's, there's the holy rollers that, the fire and brimstone stuff, that drives people away. But creating, these philosophical understanding about you and who you are and who you're not and where love in it of itself and how blessed we are to be where we are, no matter what we think we are. Those types of dialogues, for those who may not really understand, is in music,
Yeah.
whether it's in reggae, whether it's in hip hop, whether it's in jazz, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. And you guys did a very important thing. I mean, you were directed. It's not us. You were just a vehicle. But
We're just servants being used.
right, but it's a very important thing, and I can imagine over the years, over 50 years,
Yes.
how many people's life that might have been different had they not been able to hear some soothing words at a certain point in their life,
Mhm.
and it came in a way that allowed for them to understand that there's something greater than them talking to them.
Amen.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that we was able to promote gospel music and, like you said, in all its genres, from
Mhm.
gospel reggae to gospel house contemporary. Right now we got Afro beats, we got the holy hip hop, we got contemporary, we got jazz, choirs, quartet. We there's so many forms of gospel music, and one of the things about a gospel DJ that we play all forms. Our playlist is extensive, and we play everything. And whether we're doing a block party with 500 people, or we're doing a birthday party with 50 people, or anniversary with a couple hundred, we're able to expose gospel music to a lot of people out there that they really did not know about. So that's one of the blessings that being a gospel DJ, connecting with other gospel DJs, not only nationwide, but as you said before, I was able to go over to London twice to do a Christian nightclub event over there. On the BBC came to the Christian nightclub. I did twice, once with the radio, and once with television, and they also did a show about Christian nightclubs and the music that we had there. So it's been a blessed 50 years to be able to travel up and down um, the, the nation, and not only that, but the world, and expose different people to gospel music. Not only as soothing, as you said, but sometimes we pump up the gospel to 126
And
beats per minute.
and
We
you
go
see
in.
you
We
got to
go
let
in.
it. You got to keep it going, and it's important because not to get. Sometimes the politics of religion allows for people to look at things from a narrow-minded way based on the politics, and there's a lot of politics, and there's a lot of truth in those politics, but music is an important common denominator because we all vibrate, we're all energy, and I don't care what you believe in. If you are open to certain types of frequencies in your heart, and you hear something that's beautiful, uh, you know, it will change how you feel because it's a vibration, and the music tends to attract the energy of the people's thoughts. And if you're thinking in this way, and you can't really, I mean, some people do, but you can't really deal with this type of music without having love in your heart. You
Hey,
know,
man.
you know,
But
it has turned sometimes to money, but without love in your heart, you can't be authentic. You know what I mean?
again, you're talking so much truth right there. Without the love for whatever genre of music that you do, it's not authentic, and people won't feel it. But like you said, music in itself resonates with people, and you can tell the type of music people resonate with by the words, the music they sing, and their actions.
Hmm.
So it's good to have an alternative where the music is positive. It brings people together. It permeates and generates more love, and it helps you look out for each other. But that's what gospel music has, that positive truth, that it not only is it horizontal where we can fellowship with our brothers and sisters, but gospel music also brings that vertical element where we can help people connect to God, Father God, I call them, and find out that they are here for a reason, and a deeper reason than just being here. So gospel music is that rare music that can connect you horizontal to each other, but also connect you to vertically with our Creator and Lord.
And one of the things that I'm sure of, and I always try to be optimistic, but I study human nature, and I'm sure someone watching this is saying, "Oh, I don't know," that haven't really listened, that haven't
Mm-hmm.
really heard the wide variety of the music that you guys play
Yes.
under the label of gospel, which you probably wouldn't know it unless it had a label. But I know
Right.
during Harlem Week on Sundays, during the first outdoor event that takes place at Grant's Tomb,
Right.
uh, we always, since it's Sunday, it's the beginning, we have the Hezekiah Walkers, and we have, and it just sets the tone, the energy. No matter what your faith, you could be no matter what your faith is, if you are in a certain setting and you get that rhythm happening to you, you're gonna move if you're alive.
Especially well, people in general, but especially people of color. We just have that
Well,
natural
that was that. You see, that's how I'm at the risk of being well. Anyway, my thought pattern, which is my thought pattern, not this nation's or anything else, is that the reason why it resonates because it comes from our ancestors, and I believe that there's certain things that African diaspora will hear that others might not, because it's a frequency thing. Just like you can't really see music, but you can feel it. So sometimes there are frequencies, and I'm not trying to put anything down, but I believe from an ancestral point of view, and that goes across the gamut, because when you look at Beethoven, and you look at some of these brothers who they had to stop and not, it's the music, that energy that comes, and your music. I should say our music. Shouldn't say your music. When you start to think about it, has been that positive component, no matter how you look at it over the years. 50 years, man. It has to be a labor of love. I mean, I know that Harlem Week is going in this 50. You started when we started in 1974. So
we started in 75.
This is long, this year will be 51 years. So it is a labor of love, but I again commend you, brother. I'm glad that Tina, put us into contact with each other, because it allowed for me to kind of re-understand some of the importance of things, especially with WHCR, that has happened over the years, that has changed the lives of many people, through music and through conversation and through programs such as this. But I truly believe that by people hearing our conversation and seeing you will provide someone out of curiosity to say, well, when are you on again, brother, on WACR 90.5? What's your show? What's your time?
Well, I'm definitely going. But that goes to speak to what WACR is all about. We have a diversity of music. We have a diversity of talk show. We have Spanish. We have hip hop. We have secular, mainstream. We have gospel. So, gospel. WACR is pioneering music, and we are the #1 station in Harlem. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's the voice of Harlem. But when is your show again?
My show is Monday mornings from 1 to 4 a.m. Monday mornings from 1 to 4 a.m. We've been there for the last 30 years. And
so if you are listening and may not be real clear as what we're saying, there's no such thing as coincidence. So there's some reason why you're hearing this. So why don't you follow and tune in? Maybe you might hear something that may be resonating to you, because again, I'm sure, especially if you're not familiar with what we've been talking about, Mondays from 1 a.m. to 4. That's wonderful. That's. Hey, listen, man, and as you get closer to the event, we probably need to revisit some of the stuff that's taking place and sing. And I have to talk with some of the Harlem Week people. Maybe the great day in Harlem is I think it's the first Sunday. I have to look at the dates, but maybe there may be some gospel DJ opportunities there, since we're doing some things.
We
Maybe
would
I
love
can.
it. Yeah, the first Sunday in August, I think it's the first, August 1st, or the second, is the first Sunday. But yes, Tony, if there's any way that we
Well,
can help.
it starts on the 7th.
Okay,
So
good.
so if the 7th is a
It's a
Thursday,
Thursday.
so it's probably the 9th or the
It's
that
probably 10th.
Sunday, that 10th. Yeah, I
That
believe
Sunday.
it's the 10th.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Just let me
But
know if you can be part
yeah,
and help.
I'll inquire and see. Usually by now they have stuff in place, but since it's what we're trying to do, maybe we can find some way to have something going on there. That would be nice.
Well, Tony, this is first-hand example how sometimes doors open, other people miss the opportunity, and doors open, and we're ready to step in. So,
Well, and again, thank you. I appreciate you
thank you, Tony.
sharing the stuff. Info. This is email if you want to get more information about some of the things that are going on, and if if all things are equal, many of the DJs will be staying at the hotel, which may open up a whole new, you know,
And yes,
opportunity. By talking to people and letting them know what's going on. So um, it's a good thing. I appreciate us having this opportunity to talk, and I wish you all the best, man.
well,
I
just
really
keep us in
do.
a
And congratulations on 50 years.
thank you, thank you.
That's a major
50 years
accomplishment.
is nothing to sneeze at. So, congratulations to Harlem Week for 51. Congratulations to WHCR going on 40. So
I
we
can't believe it's been 40 years since I
40
wrote it.
years. Yeah, that's
You
right.
know,
40
damn.
years. I've been there for 30 of them.
Yeah, at any rate, it's one of the benefits sometimes of being around for a period of time because you have the ability to see the fruits of your efforts, to see them grow into other things. When we were saving WACR, who know that we would be where we are now with a location where it is now,
That's right.
and with a young general manager who's been on the show a couple of times because she was, you know, getting coffee for people. We didn't even know that her dad was one of the engineers. While he didn't tell anybody. He said, "You got to make it on your own. Don't use me as your crutch." You know?
Big shout out to Kasaya. Yes, big shout out to her. There you
Yeah,
go.
so Keziah is a good person. She's young, I'm sure that she's going to be successful. But she has a lot of support. People like you,
That's right. That's right.
we've
We're
all
right
kind
behind
of, put right, giving her the support that she needs. So,
her. That's right.
again, my
Yeah.
brother,
Thank you.
thank you for your time,
Mhm.
and look forward to seeing how this all pans itself out. Because it'll be here before we know it.
Amen.
It'll be
Thanks
here
again,
before.
Tony. Thank you to Urbanology, Soul City. Thank you guys for the time, man. Anytime you need it.
WACR
So,
90.3 FM. We know that in Soul City. This is one of the things that's important. We have these instruments to create our own narratives. And if we don't do it, we can't expect anybody else to do it. So this is what we're doing. Take care, man. Good luck, and keep me posted. I know you will, based on what we've been
I
talking
will. Because that lady hooked us up. What's her name again? Tina. I try not to say it too loud. But yeah, Tina.
We'll work it out. Take care, man.
You too, sir. God bless you. Bye bye.
All right. And again, that was a good feeling when you're doing something that will have not only a positive effect on you, but can very well have a positive effect on so many people. And I'm one of them who it took me a while to understand the benefit of gospel music. I mean, it's just positive music, and it comes in all genres. So why not? It's something that comes from Africa, you know, and it has been a saving force for African and Caribbean Americans in particular for uh, since they took us out of our homeland. Speaking of which, we're going back to Ghana in in December 6th to 14th. Culturaloneness.com is where you can go to get information, and we're working on bringing to our August 14th conference on cultural wellness a very important figure from Ghana who will come and provide blessings at the new African burial ground and create some partnership relationships with Harlem and the northern part of Ghana. So stay tuned. Once we get the confirmation, we will make sure that you hear about it here on WHCR. So again, Tony Rogers, hoping that you enjoyed your Cinco de Mayo yesterday, which was the celebration of the independence of Mexico. And we look forward to talking to you next week, God willing. And thanks for the Soul City team for providing this platform and allowing for me to talk with you. Take care.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Urbanology.